This ESPN production is also available in high definition on ESPN HD, presented by Olivia. Welcome to the Toyota Center here in downtown Houston, an NBA special edition, a big-time game, an important game of the Western Conference. No Yao, lots of McGrady tonight for the Rockets as they host the Denver Nuggets, who are battling for a playoff spot of the West. And Houston, of course, trying to hold on to their position and extend a 14-game winning streak. Let's take a look now at our starting lineups, brought to you by AT&T, one of the highest-scoring teams in the NBA, led by two of the top four scorers in the league, Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony. For the Houston Rockets, a very good defensive team. Dikembe Mutombo steps in the middle for the ailing Yao Ming, who will have surgery tomorrow. Shane Battier figures to draw the defensive assignment of Carmelo Anthony. The tip in a moment, but first, here's Rick Bucher.
Yes, the surest sign that this is a big game for the Denver Nuggets is the fact that Coach George Karl ran the shoot-around this morning. It's a task that he normally leaves to his assistant coaches, but he feels that sometimes it's a little bit like the substitute teacher coming in. Guys don't pay attention. Doris was there along with me, and I believe that she can vouch for the fact that there was a little more energy, a little more attention to detail. But this then, as Carmelo Anthony said, is the start of the biggest week of the season for the Denver Nuggets.
He was also anxious to get here. He typically takes a second bus over, was downstairs 15 minutes early. He was prepared to get to the arena.
Entering a very tough stretch, the Denver Nuggets are, and of course, as you all know, the Western Conference is so tough. You lose 3 or 4 in a row, you really make life difficult for yourself. So this is a big one for the Nuggets and a big one for the Rockets, who have the longest winning streak in the NBA this season at 14 in a row, including the last 2 without the services of Yao Ming, who will undergo surgery for the stress fracture on his foot tomorrow morning. The 41-year-old Dikembe Mutombo wins the tip, and the Rockets have the first possession.
Well, George Karl at that shoot-around worked an awful lot on the pick and rolls and which way he wanted to force this guy, Tracy McGrady, because he loves to go left.
McGrady misses the jumper, and back come the Nuggets. Denver wants to play in a hurry, get it up and down the floor as quickly as they can. They're kind of a high-risk, high-reward team at both ends of the floor. Kenyon Martin, one-on-one over Mutombo. Denver scores first.
A solid move there. Just uses a efficient dribble to get him into a shot. I think tempo obviously important anytime you play Denver. Keep them out of transition, keep them off the free throw line.
Houston's been playing so well in each of their last 2 games. They haven't even trailed, not for a moment. They trail early here tonight, now 4-0. Allen Iverson with a steal and a layup.
Now, this is a team that does an exceptional job gambling defensively. He is among the league leaders in steals. Great anticipation skills and quickness to go with it.
Iverson 3rd in the league in scoring, 1st in minutes, and top 10 in steals and assists. The floater by Rafer Alston, and Houston's on the board.
How about that guy's play? He has been exceptional in this stretch.
Tough shot by Martin. And the rebound to Alston. For Houston, guys like Alston, Luis Scola, Carl Landry, all stepping up even before Yao got hurt. Some of the big reasons why Houston is the hottest team in the league right now. Although San Antonio, they've got a pretty quiet win streak going themselves.
The Lifetime Achievement Award goes to the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich.
Yep. McGrady now on a switch, has Kenyon Martin on him. 2 on the shot clock. Iverson steals it away, one-on-one with Alston, and Alston knocks it out of Iverson's hands. Iverson staring down official Zach Zarba, and now barking at Zarba. Wanted to call Bob Delaney and Louis Grillo, the other 2 officials here tonight. Mutombo comes out to set the high screen. He'll be much more involved at the defensive end of the floor than the offensive end, as Camby brings down the rebound. Camby, the number 2 rebounder in the league. Anthony. And the game plan was turn Carmelo Anthony into a jump shooter, but if he's knocking down the shots, the Rockets have issues.
Well, he's a tough check. One, if you guard him small, he goes down to the box, post you up, he gets to the free throw line. But you're right. I mean, you're either going to make the decision, let him beat me inside or let me beat him over the top.
Alston. Long on the 3, kept alive by Scola, and Battier runs it down. Houston, a very good rebounding team, and now they'll set it up. Alston, nobody to pass to, forces one up, didn't grab the rim. Shot clock at 8. Alston for 3. 3 minutes in and just 2 points for the Rockets as Anthony Carter lays it in. Denver in transition, Doris.
That's one of those things. You're giving up layups. You don't want to do that. You also don't want to let them get to the free throw line. What do you notice about Houston? Why are they different without Yao? Well, all of a sudden they become much more perimeter oriented. They'd like to be a little bit more of a transition team.
Scola short on that jump shot. Not a lot of offensive flow early tonight for Houston. Anthony misses the three. Martin cannot save it. Houston ball.
When you're playing Denver, the way to keep them out of transition is to make shots. That way you do not give up a steal or a turnover. And this is what you give up if you do. Layups on the opposite end.
Houston just 1 for 7 from the floor in the early going. In Yao, they lose better than 20 points, better than 10 rebounds per game. Maybe Rafer Alston's going to fill some of that void offensively.
He has quietly played very good basketball from the lead guard spot. You could make an argument that he's played as well as most of the point guards, and that's a big statement in the West.
Marcus Camby showing some range, knocking down the long jumper. The 2 wins that Houston has had without Yao have been at home against Washington and Memphis, but they have pounded both teams. They have played extremely well, but now a turnover and a look of frustration on the face of Tracy McGrady and Rick Adelman as well.
I think the major challenge for Coach Adelman is a couple things. One, you play differently with Dikembe on the floor and without, and the timing of the injury. It's so late in the year.
Martin to miss. Houston ball. Of course, the Rockets are used to playing at times without Yao, without McGrady, sometimes without both. In recent years, both have had their injury problems. This is a team that a week ago, a lot of people were saying, hey, they could be a title contender the way they're playing. In some circles, they have been written off as far as serious contenders, and the Rockets take offense at that. They've got their backs up a little bit right now, not wanting people to count them out, even though Yao is done for the season. Well, fairly or unfairly, a lot of attention is going to be on Tracy McGrady in the next several weeks. Without Yao Ming, can McGrady help lead his team down the stretch and into the postseason? Of course, the Rockets are used to playing over the years without Yao, without McGrady, maybe without both. There were some occasions 2 years ago and again last year where both of them missed games, which is why the record doesn't jive exactly with the number of games missed. They played okay without them, and they played well without McGrady earlier this year, 7-4 in one 11-game stretch. This is a big challenge, though. It's one thing when they're out, but you know they're coming back. Psychologically, Doris, it's got to be a little bit different when they're out and you know the big guy's not coming back.
But I think it's interesting that Tracy talked about his immediate reaction. His first thought was how passionate his teammate Yao was and how hurt he was that he couldn't be a part of something special. This team was building and has built out throughout the course of the season. It's heartbreaking for Yao. And I'll tell you what, his value goes beyond the 20 and 10. This is a guy who sets the tone with the way he works.
Alston to miss. Denver ball again. We were here last Sunday night doing the game against Chicago. Houston played well. Rick Adelman told us tonight that with just a couple of minutes left in that game and the issue had already been decided, Yao complained that his ankle was bothering him, so they took him out, looked at his ankle the next day. He had some swelling, some discomfort, and that's when they found out he had a stress fracture in his foot.
On the positive side, they found it early enough. He will put a screw in his ankle, or the doctors will on Monday. It's about 4 months. The big question, the Olympics this summer.
In Beijing, and of course Yao is bound and determined to play in the Olympic Games. A miss by Battier. The only player who has scored for Houston so far is Rafer Alston. All 5 starters have already scored for Denver. Good position inside by Carmelo Anthony, but Dikembe Mutombo with a block. And the signature wag of the finger, although to nobody in particular, after getting teed up for that a couple of games ago. Iverson back in transition, 4-on-2. And the tap is good by Camby. The Rockets, plain and simple, Doris, got beaten down the floor right there.
A couple times they've given up layups. Unselfish job by Marcus Camby to give that up. And I'll tell you this, George Karl has told us on multiple occasions, the guy he could least afford to replace, Marcus Camby.
He corrects a lot of their defensive mistakes or gambles, blocking 4 shots per game. Best in the league. Luis Scola, who stepped into a starting lineup, or the starting lineup, 15 games ago. They've gone 14-1 since. Knocks down the 15-footer.
I like how he plays. Sort of a lunch pail guy, does a lot of little things. Exceptional feel for when to cut on the offensive end.
Anthony one-on-one with Battier. Now Scola comes to help. Iverson over Alston. Let's bring in Rick Bucher.
I had a chance to talk to Marcus Camby this morning about those prodigious numbers that he has defensively, and I said, how much of that is because your defense has improved and how much is because your team gives you so many opportunities to block shots and rebound? And he laughed and he said, I know what you're talking about. It's a little bit of both.
And I'm sure he had a smile on his face when he said it. Anthony strips it away from Scola. 3-on-3 the other way. Anthony Carter with the offensive foul. Shane Battier, one of the best in the business at drawing charges.
The intangibles. Isn't that what's always spoken about with this guy? The consummate pro goes about his business on a daily basis with great passion.
He's got to stop dropping theory or relativity and migration patterns on us if he wants to be one of our favorite guys, though. 5-point lead on the road here for the Nuggets. These two teams have split 2 games. Houston winning easily here early in the season. Denver winning in double overtime in Denver in December. Battier with a nice jump hook.
This is a smart play. You've got a mismatch with Anthony Carter checking him, giving up several inches. And this is a team, Houston, in the midst of this winning streak. They've been smart and unselfish.
Knocked out of bounds by Alston. Denver ball with 13 to shoot as Allen Iverson continues to work the officials every time he feels that he is fouled. Nowhere to go on the baseline. Kenyon Martin with a left hand leaves it short. Battier has it. Tracy McGrady quiet in the early going. Has taken only 1 shot. Has not scored. Has not gotten a lot of touches. But he gets back on defense, knocking that pass away from Anthony. Battier for 3.
It had been a struggle for him to make shots early in the year, Shane Battier. But he has really come around, and as has Scola and Alston. And you cannot underestimate the support guys playing huge.
7-0 run right now for the Rockets. Anthony over Battier knocks down his second jumper of the night.
See, I think defensively, if you're Coach Adelman, you're going to say, okay, if he's going to beat me that way with Battier in his grill contesting jump shots, so be it.
Battier defended by Carter at the other end right now. Scola with Martin on him. 10 on the shot clock. Ball's not moving at all, and it's stripped away. 2-on-1. Carter and Iverson. Iverson for the lay-in.
The feast or famine for Denver. They've ever scored on a layup off a turnover by Houston. Houston right now helping Denver score points.
Mutombo sets a screen on Iverson. A couple of former Georgetown Hoyas colliding right there. Scola inside, stripped from behind. Camby leading the Nuggets up the floor. 4-on-3. Denver continuing to knock the ball loose, force turnovers. Iverson for 3. And it is out of bounds to Denver.
Shane Battier playing some of the best basketball of his career off the turnover by Denver in transition. He makes the play on one end. Tracy McGrady makes the play. They stretch the floor. Battier in great position. 1 dribble right into his shot. And Denver, when they have scored tonight, it's been in this fashion, off turnovers or good defensive plays. Unselfish in transition. Carter gives it up. Iverson, as he's done so many times.
Denver up 4 on Houston late first quarter here in Houston indoors. No surprise, forcing turnovers and capitalizing.
Well, anytime Tracy McGrady's in a pick and roll, in an ideal world, you force him right because he loves to get to the left-hand side of the floor. Anticipating that, Allen Iverson gets out in transition. The one thing you didn't want to do is give up layups because this team, when they get to the layup or the free throw line, incredibly dangerous. You said it early. This is a feast or famine team. They can be explosive, but when they struggle on the defensive end of the floor.
Already 7 turnovers committed by Houston. Denver is first in the league in steals. They are second in the league in forcing turnovers. And, of course, Iverson is right at the heart of that. 6 steals already. A turnover is one thing. You throw it out of bounds, an offensive foul. But a steal is usually a layup at the other end.
Right. If it's an open floor steal, it's a layup. If it's a dead ball, you're okay.
Kleza in for Denver. Carter to the bench. Carl Landry, the rookie out of Purdue, in for Houston. And Mutombo to the bench after playing better than 9 minutes. Still working on his conditioning. As McGrady banks it in. And Carmelo Anthony has a look on his face like, you got to be kidding me that ball went in.
He was in pretty good defensive help. But that is Tracy's favorite spot in the Toyota Center. That spot on the floor.
Anthony, he'll be seeing a lot of Shane Battier tonight. Shane Battier's seeing a lot of jumpers raining down over him right now.
Well, how good is that? I mean, he scored with a guy in his face on several occasions already. Hey, that jump shot is so smooth.
6 points early for Anthony. Scola inside. It'll stay with the Rockets as Eduardo Najera checks in now. Martin out for the Nuggets. Let's take another look at that Tracy McGrady shot.
He's made a lot of jump shots from this exact spot. They talked an awful lot about that. That's as good a contest, and I'll take the bank is open on a Sunday.
Sometimes you can do everything right, and the other guy still is going to score. McGrady a miss. And here come the Nuggets. A smaller Houston lineup now. Yao injured, as we've discussed. Mutombo's gone to the bench. Landry and Scola are the big guys. Scola's checking Camby right now. Najera doesn't get the bounce. Klaiser crashes. Najera again, and you'll see Denver get great energy from these two backup forwards, Eduardo Najera and Linus Klaiser.
Both play hard. Klaiser obviously could stretch it, has had a 40-point game, but Najera, he's going to defend, he's going to rebound, he's going to hit the floor, he'll give up his body.
Iverson not there. Rebound Scola. Scola and Landry had been splitting minutes, but now with Yao out and Mutombo not able to play that many minutes, you'll see Scola and Landry on the floor together, and both of them are playing very well. Battier, his second three of the game. I think if Battier were to score as many points tonight as Carmelo Anthony, Rick Adelman would probably say thank you very much, although Battier's primary job tonight, of course, is at the defensive end.
Well, Tracy McGrady's averaging over 5.5 assists per game. You have got to come with more than one defender on the dribble drive because he's got great size, 6'9", and he's got 6'3" skills, and he passes the ball exceptionally well. Nice job to get an open jumper for his teammate.
McGrady using the screen from Landry, gets the switch. Najera on him right now. A point forward at times is Tracy McGrady. Hello, all the way to the rim. He went right by Najera for the jam. Now a Denver turnover. The first lead of the night for Houston, Doris, has brought this crowd to the edge of its seats right now, thanks to Tracy McGrady.
Wouldn't you like to see him do a little bit more of that? He shoots a lot of jump shots, but that guy's got great length, and when he wants to attack the rim, there's no stopping him.
Battier again, not this time. Kept alive by Scola, and a loose ball foul against Luis Scola of Houston. Let's check out our NBA calendar on NBA TV tomorrow. Dallas is at Utah, another big-time matchup out of the Western Conference, beginning at 9 Eastern. TNT Thursday has a doubleheader. The Cavs and Bulls. Cavs beat the Bulls today. Then these Rockets are in Dallas, and on ABC next Sunday. How about San Antonio at Phoenix?
How's that for a back-to-back for the Dallas Mavericks, though? The Lakers today, the brutal Western Conference. I'll tell you this, it's interesting because you've had so many teams acquire pieces where normally you'd be just tweaking and fine-tuning. Yep. You've got teams trying to figure out who they are.
George Karl told us before the game, normally he thinks of April the 1st. Look at that move by McGrady. How skilled is that? George Karl said normally after the NCAA championship game, that's when he thinks it's kind of go time in the NBA. It's on. He thinks it's on right now already. Long pass will sail out of bounds as the quarter comes to a close. Tracy McGrady with two sensational moves to the rim.
Now, this is a guy who at 6'9" has got tremendous skills. He's a great perimeter shooter.
George Karl will speak with our Rick Bucher when we come back to start the second quarter. Tracy McGrady giving the fans something to cheer about here at the Toyota Center tonight.
Welcome back. I'm here with Coach George Karl. Seemed like you started out with the intensity that you wanted. How did you feel that quarter ended?
Well, I thought, the last 4 or 5 games, Houston's been up 15 or 20 points on their opponent. I can't complain about the defense. Our offense, we had a lot of opportunities. He had 6 steals in the quarter. I don't know if we scored on any of them.
And so how do you change that?
Better passing, better teamwork, better aggressiveness. We're a good offensive team. It'll come back to us.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, Allen Iverson suffering an injury, it appears, near the end of the first quarter. Denver just 18 points in the first quarter, down 3 to the Rockets. This is on Denver's last possession, Doris, of the first quarter. Iverson driving and getting raked across the wrist there by Alston. And for most of the break between quarters, he was holding that wrist in some pain.
There he is. And obviously he's capable with either hand dribbling the basketball, but his dominant hand and the way he most likes to attack the rim is off the right hand dribble.
Tough to get him out of a ball game. Better than 42 minutes per game. Tough things come in small packages. All of about 160, 165 pounds. Seems to get knocked down more than anybody else in the league, but he plays through it.
Plays like a former high school quarterback in safety.
Plays it with lots of room, so he passes up an open jumper and ends up taking a tougher fadeaway jig. Luther head into the game for the first time for Houston. Chuck Hayes, Bobby Jackson, recently picked up from New Orleans. J.R. Smith, who had a 43-point game about 10 days ago, in for Denver. McGrady over Kleza. That is a contested three that rattles out. Here's Smith. Great athlete, capable of lighting it up. A streaky shooter from outside. He gets inside and draws the foul on Hayes.
Well, you make an interesting point about Allen Iverson, and that's a guy who doesn't want to come off the floor ever. I mean, he just objects to it. He loves to play the game. He liked his passion. But George Karl, he said, you know, I'd like to use my bench a little bit more, but you're in a position in the West where you simply must win games. And so I think most rotations get shorter and shorter in those circumstances.
And again, he said normally that's about an April 1st kind of thing. This year he's thinking it as a March 1st kind of thing. The standings are so tight. They're neck and neck with Golden State. They're trying to catch a Houston, a Dallas, a Phoenix, anybody. Just keep moving up the ladder. They're going to be a couple of awfully good teams who missed the playoffs. Last year, we all know the West was great. Denver won 45 games. They were the number 6 seed last year. 45 wins this year. You're watching it on TV.
If they win this game, Denver's on pace to win 49 games. But I'll tell you what, and John Barry said this on our shoot-around show, they have a tough stretch, and in the next 8 days, with the competition they have coming, you'll know a lot about their postseason hopes.
Carl Landry, and the rookie out of Purdue, becoming a bigger and a bigger factor. Had 25 games at the beginning of the season where he didn't play at all, but kept working in practice, great energy, was in great shape. And Rick Adelman said every time I put him on the floor, he was productive, and he has worked himself into a major part of the Houston rotation. As we check out that Denver schedule Doris was talking about. After tonight, so they're here in Houston tonight, home to Phoenix, home to San Antonio, at Utah, at San Antonio. It doesn't get tougher than that. McGrady.
Transition opportunities. And George Karl talked about this with Rick. We're a better offensive team. We need to get better stuff in transition off our half-court offense.
Iverson over Jackson. And the follow, whether it's Kleza or Camby, I think Camby will get credit for it. The Rockets are saying that one or both of them had their hands in the cylinder. Camby getting credit for the follow. And McGrady going to the rim again, but he travels.
Well, out in transition, Tracy McGrady is a willing passer and a capable passer, but with numbers and leading the break at 6'9", that's an easy finish. You know, it's interesting, and everybody wanted to talk about Houston and Yao, no chance. You said it, they took exception to it. The reality is they have enough home games to win games. George Karl said, we just want to win our home games, steal a couple on the road where necessary, and we feel like we've got a good chance.
Yeah, they're on a stretch right now where a huge percentage of their games are at home, but of course it all evens out. And at the end of the season for Houston, 10 of their last 15 are on the road, and all 15 of them are against the West. They've got some Eastern Conference games and a lot of home games soon. Their schedule is really backloaded, so Houston might have to build up a bit of a buffer.
Well, that's a great point. You're at home, so get your confidence rolling here before you have that last 10 of 15 away from the Toyota Center.
That last foul, an offensive foul on Kenyon Martin. A good steal there by J.R. Smith, and here come the Nuggets. Averaging about 107 points per game, just 21 so far tonight. Iverson baseline and a beautiful reverse.
That is ridiculous. He has got his back completely to the basket.
Iverson with 6, averaging almost 27. Luther head out of Illinois doesn't get the roll, and the rebound to Martin. Quick lead past Denver, always looking to run. Smith. And nobody boxed down Iverson, who missed the follow. But Rick Adelman can't be happy the way the Rockets are defending the defensive glass. Denver getting to the glass with ease. Grady down to the post, battling with Kleza. Luther head takes the three and buries it.
He's a streaky shooter. We remember from his days at Illinois. Got all the way to the national championship, the heartbreaker to North Carolina.
36% from beyond the arc, averaging about 8 points per game. And Nahara the offensive rebound and the Iverson miss. And a foul on Carl Landry. And that Iverson threw that ball way up in the air, and it went in well after the whistle. But he is a magician out there on the court. Houston and Denver in a big Western Conference matchup with the Rockets lead by 5.
ESPN's special edition of the NBA. Brought to you by Volkswagen. It's the Sign Then Drive event. Get into any 2008 VW for practically just your signature. And Walt Disney Pictures' hilarious new comedy, College Road Trip. In theaters everywhere, March 7th.
Wilt scored 100. Remember him back in 1962. Back to you.
That's right. Highest scoring game in NBA history. What a finish to that game. We were all mesmerized watching the Mavericks and the Lakers. Look who's here tonight. Roger Clemens, a big Rockets fan. Vince Young is here as well. Of course, Roger Clemens fighting for his reputation right now. He's here with, I think, 2 of his children, it looks like, sitting in the first row just to our right, watching a basketball game.
And that 100 didn't come easy. The New York Knicks wanted no part of that. They started fouling his teammates to try to prohibit touches for him, and he still got it.
As Hubie Brown said earlier today, they were talking about it. The most amazing thing, Wilt made 28 out of 32 free throws in that game to get to 100 points. By the way, Kobe Bryant has the second highest scoring game in NBA history, had 81 points against the Raptors a couple of years ago.
Well, how about this? And Mark Jackson, one of the all-time leaders in terms of assists, and Jeff Van Gundy, who had his share of success both here in Houston and elsewhere as a coach. Both guys on ABC earlier today talked about the Lakers, and Jeff Van Gundy said it flat out. Not only are the Lakers the best team in basketball, they will win the championship. Yep. That was a strong statement at the beginning of March. And that's without Bynum right now.
Right. Bynum, they're hoping to get him back now mid to late March. It seems the date is kind of fluid, and it might be moving later and later. We were waiting to do a pregame interview with Allen Iverson tonight, and he was a few minutes late. We were beginning to wonder maybe he's not going to show. He was watching the game today. He couldn't tear himself away from the Lakers and the Mavericks. Off the fingertips of Nahara, and it'll be Houston ball.
Now, these guys pay great attention, and not only is Allen passionate about playing, but I think he's also a fan. Now, how'd you like to play the front line with Bynum, okay? You go 7 foot in athletics, 7 foot and skilled with Gasol, and 6'10" with multi-skills Lamar Odom. Good luck matching up against that.
And a guy at 2 guard who a lot of people believe is the best player in the league. Bobby Jackson with a baseline layup. Houston up by 5. Houston at the moment 6th in the Western Conference. What a play by Iverson. The layup, and he angled his body into the defender and drew the foul on Bobby Jackson.
You simply have to marvel at this guy whose body has taken a beating for 10 seasons. He is terrific off the drive. He does a sensational job of attacking the rim. When necessary, he'll go chest to chest with somebody and score over the top. Great elevation.
Well, let's mention Wilt again. There are only 2 players in the history of the NBA with a higher career scoring average than Allen Iverson. Their names are Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. He misses the free throw. Another rebound, and Houston is going to have to get better on the glass. This is supposed to be a strength of theirs, but Denver is getting a lot of offensive rebounds here tonight.
Now, how many times have we seen them miss easy opportunities? Yeah. I mean, they're leaving some points on the floor.
Carmelo Anthony back in for Denver. Shane Battier back in for Houston, and that's probably not a coincidence. Kenyon Martin back after microfracture surgery. Kind of got a slow start to the season, but at full strength as of about a few weeks ago, George Karl said. And again, another guy who can run and jump and rebound, block shots. They've got a lot of weapons on this team.
To come back from one microfracture, incredible. To come back from multiple as he had, I asked him, is there any fear? He said, none whatsoever. I don't. I feel healed and healthy. It was really about getting in shape.
And Kenyon Martin and George Karl, you know, modern medicine, ancient medicine, whatever works for you, they have something in common. George Karl's had a bad knee, battling a bad hip right now, and both Kenyon Martin and George Karl have tried, I guess, a little Eastern medicine or alternative medicine, if you will, to combat the situation as Bobby Jackson knocks down a jumper. Now, I know Rick Bucher has more on this than we do, but they are getting injections of the crown of a chicken. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And George Karl says, hey, it works. Rick, what can you tell us about this?
It's not the crown of a chicken, it's the crown of a rooster.
I was so close.
And yes, Kenyon Martin has had 2 injections in his knee. It's essentially a newfangled and anti-inflammatory and all legal, Kenyon assures me. But obviously a newfangled approach. With these guys, they will attempt anything as long as it passes muster to try to get them to feel better. Kenyon swears that it works, and George Karl was at a point, he's going to have surgery on that hip this summer. He's at a point where he was willing to try just about anything. But the question is, does it make him walk any differently? That's the one question we have.
And we're not sure if clucking will get you a technical or not, so we'll keep an eye on that as Landry knocks it down. Now, George Karl, in typical George Karl fashion, he said the other injections, whatever they were trying, wasn't working, so he turned to the doctor and he says, let's try the chicken. let's give the chicken a try, and it's worked for him. As Carmelo Anthony makes it look easy on the inside.
Well, when you're taking 6 or 7 Tylenol at the same time trying to get rid of the pain, you know you're going to try anything.
Kenyon Martin, the rebound off the Jackson miss, starting to go up and down the floor a little bit more. Houston leading by 3. Anthony driving on Chuck Hayes, a very good defender, who knocks it out of bounds, and it will be Houston ball. If it's not Battier defending Anthony, it'll be Hayes defending Anthony as the Rockets try to keep the high-flying Nuggets in check. Houston by 3 over George Karl's Nuggets. Coach Karl wired for sound tonight. Let's listen in.
And your offense, be a little more patient, but convert the easy opportunities. There's a lot of easy stuff out there that you're not converting. The next pass, the extra pass, one more man. Just get back into being the offensive team you're capable of being.
Just as you said, Doris, they are leaving some easy stuff on the rim that they don't normally miss.
Well, why is there more easy opportunities? Well, you know how Yao Ming, he's not the anchor on the defensive end. Obviously, Houston playing a little bit smaller. And we talked to Rick Adelman earlier. He said, we're going to play a little bit more motion. They have slowly been incorporating more and more of what he brought with him from Sacramento. But you've got to get some scoring from Carl Landry.
We saw Dikembe Mutombo play the first 9 minutes and change in this game for Houston. He went to the bench and has not come back since. So Carl Landry, as big as it gets for the Rockets right now. Now Denver, they've got some big bodies, but it's not like you're playing Bynum or Shaq or Duncan or teams like this. So this might be a little bit easier for Houston without Yao than against some other teams.
Well, and what matchup problems do they create against those bigger guys?
Luther Head with his second 3 of the night, and Houston's lead is up to 6. And thanks to Luther Head and others, Houston's bench is outscoring Denver's bench 14-1. Kleza cuts through the middle. The pass is deflected by Hayes. Denver still got it. And Anthony is pure again on the jumper.
Well, it's going to be frustrating for Shane Battier. He did a nice job avoiding the contact, stepping up into Carmelo Anthony, and still a jump shot in his face.
Anthony with 10, had a season-high 49 a few weeks ago against Washington. Bobby Jackson picked up in a trade a couple of weeks ago for Bonzi Wells and Mike James, a veteran point guard who played under Coach Rick Adelman for 5 years in Sacramento. So they've got a comfort zone with one another. And Nahara is called for the foul. He'll go out. Camby back in. Anthony Carter back in for Linus Kleza. Anthony Carter might have a little company, it sounds like, in the backcourt. They're hoping to get Chucky Atkins back soon. Surgery for a hernia, and also a lot of rumors that Denver is extremely interested in Tyronn Lue, recently waived. J.R. Smith.
Well, how many times have we seen them on their offensive end just score on layups? But that's a great point. I mean, if you were George Karl, you thought you had the point guard that you needed. Great speed in Chucky Atkins, loves to push the pace, good at setting your 2 main scorers up.
Battier off a screen, a great look. Martin the rebound. And he clears a little space with that left elbow. 7th rebound already for Kmart. Double team on Anthony this time. They'll try to take it out of his hands. And Martin is fouled. Let's go to Rick Bucher for more on the Nuggets point guard situation. Rick?
I had a chance to talk to Chucky Atkins this morning. Actually, last Friday, the shoot-around that the Nuggets had was the hardest practice that he's had since surgery. Went through everything, and George Karl said that it was the biggest sweat that he'd seen Chucky put since he had the surgery. Feeling as he's about a week away. He went through everything this morning. And that's going to be a great addition because George was very disappointed that Sam Cassell is apparently headed to Boston. They're still looking at the waiver wires. They'd like a shot at Tyronn Lue as well, just as a safety gap. But there are at least 4 other teams, including these Houston Rockets, that are supposedly interested in Tyronn as well. So we'll have to see exactly where that goes. But it seems like they're on the outside looking in. They're going to have to wait for Atkins and possibly Nene to come back to bolster their team.
Of course, there are times when Iverson slides over and plays the point, but generally playing at the 2 spot. Their other point guard is rookie Torian Green out of Florida, who they picked up in a deal, but he is playing sparingly.
The interesting thing about Boston, perhaps, and reportedly it's going to happen, Sam Cassell going to Boston. Eddie House, the guy whose minutes would most be impacted, he was terrific in his reaction in the paper, said, hey, we're trying to win a championship here. It's a big picture situation. What a great reaction from a guy whose minutes are going to go probably way down.
A defensive 3-second call. It'll be a technical on Denver. Well, ESPN is your NBA destination, and you'll get a chance to see the Denver Nuggets again as they take on the Phoenix Suns on a Wednesday. An interesting matchup. The Suns still trying to find their way in the Shaq era. And of course, lost at home to Philadelphia last night. And Denver, we talked about their schedule. You'll see them on ESPN against Phoenix Wednesday. You'll see them on ESPN against San Antonio Friday.
Well, if you're Steve Kerr, with each loss, you probably get a little bit more uncomfortable. But here's the reality. You're probably trying to play 2 different ways. When Shaq's on the floor, when you're not on the floor. But their defense has got to be a little bit better than it's been.
McGrady's 3 rims out. Rebound Camby. Well, in terms of the score, it's where Houston wants it more than Denver. There's a block by Mutombo, his second. And give the 41-year-old a lot of credit as Scola gets the layup from McGrady. Mutombo in the first 2 games he's played in place of Yao, 4 blocks in each of them, and already 2 here tonight. J.R. Smith will quiet the crowd with a 3.
He is a streaky scorer, J.R. Smith, and he's feeling good about himself. Then you change how you guard. But you're right. We're both in our 4th decade. We're feeling pretty good that Mutombo can go from relative inactivity to game changer.
Scola, and it bounces over the top of the backboard. Dikembe Mutombo making his presence felt, filling in for the injured Yao. 2nd all-time in the NBA in blocks behind only Hakeem, and he's added 2 more to his career total here tonight.
My French dance, gentlemen.
Look, I was going to say, look at Jonesy. First of all, playing hurt. Second of all, going back to his bilingual roots. 2 thumbs up, Jonesy.
That's totally unfair. Those 2 French Canadians right
there. No, we're not French Canadians. Well, let's check out the Western Conference standings. The Lakers with that overtime win over Dallas tonight. So Houston moves percentage points in front of Dallas for 6th in the West. Denver is 9th right now, a half game back of Golden State. All of this, of course, is subject to change. It's changing every day. Doing the game in New Orleans on Friday, we had a great graphic showing day by day where the Hornets were in the standings. It was 1st, 3rd, 3rd, 5th, 5th, 3rd, 3rd. And day by day, they kept changing where they were in the West. And it's, you ask any coach, player who's been around the league for years and years, none of them can ever remember one of the conferences being as strong as it is right now. And this has brought out questions about the playoff format and what we should do, or what should be done, what could be done with respect to the playoff format. Alston knocks down the jumper. Now, George Karl absolutely knocked us back on our seats today with his idea. He says cut 20 games off the regular season, take a 2-week break around the All-Star break, and then come back and have the top 16 play single elimination, like the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. He says, can you imagine the excitement of single elimination. Dikembe Mutombo, block number 3. Scola from McGrady at the other end.
Defense, the stopper, he protects the rim so well, and it leads to numbers on the opposite end.
You got to give Mutombo a lot of credit. This is a guy who literally played a handful of minutes here, a handful there, the entire season prior to becoming a starter after Yao's injury.
Yeah, zero preparation. A guy goes from inactivity to defensive stopper. And his greatest strength has always been protecting that rim with great ferocity.
17th season out of Georgetown. Second all-time, as we mentioned, to Hakeem in a block shots, better than 3,000 blocks. And obviously has worked hard in practice and has kept his conditioning good enough where he can play 20 minutes a game right now.
Well, the ironic thing was Coach Adelman and he, before they knew about Yao, literally hours before at a practice, Dikembe said, it's probably time I start playing a little bit more. And Adelman and the coaching staff had already had a similar sentiment. And so the guy sort of changed his mindset and was prepared to produce.
Mutombo just shared a joke with his fellow Hoya, Allen Iverson, patting him on the shoulder as he jogged past him on his way up the floor. Alston over Iverson. Another long jumper for Rafer Alston. Long pass to Kenyon Martin, and he'll bounce it out of bounds off Mutombo. A chance for us to tell you that the Toyota halftime show is coming up. A little English, a little French. Who knows what Mark Jones will give us as Kobe and LeBron carry the load for their respective teams today. Who's the best clutch player in the NBA? And yeah, the Rockets aren't the only team with a long winning streak. The Spurs have one going as well. There's a foul on Mutombo. He was wagging his finger, but he won't get credit for the block. He'll get called for the foul.
Well, we always get the benefit of the second look. The officials are making this on the fly. That's a lot of ball now. Was it the call prior? Because there was some contact on the elbow before that block. Well, it would be an interesting question. Does this year change the way the NBA goes about their business for the playoffs? I know Greg Popovich said it would be great if the best 16 teams were in the playoffs. And you think about what happened in the aftermath of the seedings where you could have 2 of the best teams in either conference playing in the second round. The leadership of this league doesn't stand pat. They evaluate. They're constantly looking at what's best for this league. But I'll tell you what, Allen Iverson, he liked it. He said, you know coming into the season what the deal is. Play well enough or go home. I like that.
Yeah, don't cry over spilled milk is what he said. So he knows they've got a tough job ahead of them to make the postseason, a team that could win 50 games and still be life and death to get there. Mutombo keeps it alive, and McGrady comes up with it. Alston and McGrady sharing a laugh as they almost knocked each other out of bounds, trying to run down that rebound. 22nd timeout, Houston. Well, Dikembe Mutombo may not give the Rockets much at the offensive end. They're going to have a tough time replacing Yao's point production, but at the defensive end, he can still block shots, evidently, Doris, with the best of them.
Well, defensive presence, blocking shots, setting a tone he did in the first 2 games without Yao Ming, and he's always a presence. He not only changes the way you can run your offense, but he changes the mindset of the guys who are doing the attacking.
Doesn't get the roll. Scola with the follow, and Mutombo smiling, Shane Battier smiling. I mean, Mutombo's not going to get a better look than that, but just couldn't get enough lift on the jump hook.
I think you have to admire the pride and the poise that this Rockets team has played with. They've got a good presence.
Iverson misses the 3, Mutombo the rebound. Houston starting to stretch out the lead here late in the first half. They've won 14 in a row, remember, the longest winning streak in the NBA this season. The lead now 10. Rafer Alston with a teardrop.
That's a guy who thought he would not be with the Rockets this season. And there was a point when they first showed up for camp that Rafer was saying, hey guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm out of here.
3-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Anthony with Battier right in his grill. Uses the screen, misses the jumper. 2 seconds. McGrady, the double clutch, a little bit strong. He thought he had it. A strong finish to the end of the first half for the undermanned Houston Rockets. No Yao, but a lot of Mutombo as they go for their 15th consecutive win. Rick Buchers with Tracy McGrady.
I'm here with Tracy McGrady. Balanced scoring from your starting 5. Looked initially like they might blitz you a little bit and get out running. What was the adjustment you guys made?
We just had to put some movement into our offense. We was a little standard in the first couple of minutes. That's why we had so many turnovers. We just had to go to a motion offense.
How do you like the pace of this game right now?
Well, I love it. We can run with these guys. You know, we got that 41-year-old back there blocking shots and give us the opportunity to get out on the break and get some easy baskets.
What does it mean to you guys to see a guy like Dikembe stepping out, not having played all season, and then giving you this?
Honestly, Rick, it's inspiring. It is. It's really inspiring for a guy to have played 19 minutes before his first game when Yao went out, and to do the things he's doing right now. It's inspiring.
Good luck in the second half. Thank you, Tracy. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Rick. An inspired a bunch of Rockets with a 10-point lead over the Denver Nuggets. Coming up, Mark Jones and the gang, the Toyota halftime show. Kobe and LeBron carry the load for the Lakers and the Cavs. Who's the best clutch player in the NBA? And the San Antonio Spurs try to extend their winning streak. As the Rockets are trying to do here, can they run it to 15 in a row? They're up 10 on the Nuggets at the half here in Houston.
You're playing a hell of a game, except offensively. We have turnovers, we're missing easy shots. We're going to have a hell of a second half. Don't get your heads down right now. Pass the ball to each other a little bit more and keep playing aggressively.
That's been a fairly consistent message from Denver coach George Karl throughout the first half as we've looked in. And the shots are there. You just take your time, make the extra pass. You're a good offensive team. The points will come.
He's managing an interesting mix of talent and personalities, and maybe the latter part of that equation more important. I think he's done a terrific job.
Now, the big news here in Houston, maybe the big news in the NBA in recent days, the injury to Yao Ming. This was the headline in the Houston Chronicle on Wednesday. Youch! And that's what it is for the Houston Rockets. But you know what? They beat Washington. They beat Memphis. Now they're leading Denver. The Rockets are really stepping up, trying to win their 15th game in a row. Pretty impressive stuff.
Well, I thought the answer that Tracy McGrady gave Rick Bucher, Dikembe Mutombo's play inspiring. And you better believe this Houston team wants to win for Yao. They like that guy. He's a hard worker.
Defense is the key for Houston, has been all season. As we check out the first half stats brought to you by the Ladders. When you hold a team averaging 107 points per game to 40 in the first half, you're getting something done. Houston to 50, Denver 40 as we go to the second half and as we go to Rick Bucher.
George Karl is honestly confused by where they stand 10 points down, and particularly what Houston's defense has done to them. He said, hey, look, they're a good defensive team, but I get the feeling that we're making them look better. On the opposite side, the thing that really puzzles him is that he said we're not a turnover-type team. They've had 12 in the first half, produced 18 first-half points for the Rockets. It's the reason, Dave, that he believes that they could, Dan, that they could easily get back into this game.
Down by 10 with a lot of time to go, and they can score in bunches when you got the likes of Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony. Anthony with 12 in the first half. Iverson with 8. Rafer Alston leads Houston with 11. Anthony Carter inside the arc knocks down the J.
Well, they'd love to see more of that. He has had periods where he's done that pretty well, made shots.
This Denver team up in Seattle last week scored 138 points as McGrady knocks down the jumper, and he's into double figures with 10.
Well, he got great support, though, in the first half. 14 bench points. Rafer Alston continues to play at a high level. He really, I think, is going unnoticed for the level of play he's been at.
Anthony with a turnaround jumper over Battier. And again, Battier's playing good defense. Battier always plays good defense, but Anthony sometimes just unstoppable.
Do you think as a defender, now we have not seen it, he doesn't appear to get discouraged despite that? I mean, I guess a good offensive player is always going to be good defense.
Mutombo looking for help. Mutombo in the first half played 13 minutes, only credited with 2 blocks. One that was originally credited to him has been changed to Battier as Scola lays it in. And Luis Scola seems to be one of these guys with a nose for the basketball. He's always around the rim when that ball comes off. Old
school, that guy. Just a nuts and bolts player. He talked about being at the All-Star game. He goes, I feel a little out of place. My game is not suited to this kind of spectacle.
10 points, 7 rebounds for Scola. Make it 8 rebounds. Scola, a 27-year-old rookie out of Argentina, and even though the United States won the gold at the FIBA tournament in the summer, Scola was named the MVP. Tracy McGrady getting involved early here in the second half, something he didn't do at the beginning of the game.
Well, he didn't have to. I mean, other guys were making shots. They struggled initially out of the gates, and then they got some scoring from other guys. But he is a 7-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ.
Anthony Carter with a step-back jumper. Trading baskets here early in the third quarter. Houston leading by 11, looking to extend the winning streak to 15. McGrady posting up and scoring.
So you're seeing the way he can score. I mean, range is not an issue for Tracy. He can flat out score at 6'9". We saw him go off the dribble and attack the rim with great ferocity, and that time back to the basket. And this is a 2-time scoring champion, 0 for 6 lifetime in his playoff appearances. He'd like nothing better to get back there.
A foul on Scola, his third. Rick Adelman said we want to turn Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony into jump shooters as Battier is called for the foul and upset. He walks all the way out of bounds under the basket. For the most part, Anthony has been a jump shooter here tonight. He's just knocking him down. Anthony to the line, where the Nuggets have struggled tonight, mainly Kenyon Martin. Join host John Saunders along with analyst Tim Legler and Greg Anthony as they deliver NBA action across the nation on NBA Coast to Coast on ESPN Tuesday night at 9 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. And a couple of free throws for Anthony.
Now they're outscoring them from the free throw line. Would have more if they shot a higher percentage, as you just noted. But how about without Yao? Gets to the line about 7.5 trips. Houston, 1 free throw attempt in the first half.
Alston all alone at the free throw line and misses the jumper, and Kenyon Martin having a big night on the glass.
That speaks to the change without Yao again. Just a perimeter team now.
Anthony misses the three. Scola another rebound, and here comes McGrady. Screened by Mutombo. Double team on McGrady. The contested baseline jumper.
Multiple defenders. I mean, the help defender steps up. He's just got such great length. You can't question his scoring ability.
He's played at times tonight with a bit of a sneer on his face, too. Just a hint of a mean streak, which probably is a good thing for him and the Rockets. So much is going to be asked of Tracy McGrady in the absence of Yao Ming the rest of the way. Iverson knows. Scola cleaning up on the glass.
Well, he says he does not pay attention when people have criticized him for not winning a playoff series. But I would think you can't help but want it so badly as a competitor.
McGrady has 9 of Houston's 11 points this quarter as he drives and is fouled. No basket.
Well, out of the locker room, Coach Adelman clearly working through the 2-time scoring champion, 7-time All-Star, multiple defenders, comes off that screen and roll, and in an ideal world, you want to push him left, because going right, you can tell he feels good with the ball in his hands moving in that direction.
Third foul on Kenyon Martin. Now McGrady comes up top to get the ball again. He is driving again and draws the contact again. Marcus Camby the foul. McGrady to the free throw line. There's no reason with his athleticism for him not to shoot 8 to 10 free throws a night.
Absolutely. I think, and I made this point in the first half, there are times where he shoots an awful lot of jump shots.
Misses the first, just a 69% free throw shooter, averaging just over 21 points per game. His numbers historically and predictably have gone up. His scoring numbers have gone up when Yao Ming has been out because more of the offensive load falls on him.
He's more than capable of handling it. You know what? And you think about Coach of the Year. Clearly, Phil Jackson has got to be amongst the candidates. But if they get into the playoffs, Houston, I think Rick Adelman's got to be a legit candidate.
Iverson is fouled. I think Byron Scott's name will come up in that conversation as well. Iverson fouled by Alston. Rick Adelman, his first year as head coach of the Rockets. Anthony Carter, they'll lay off him and he'll knock down the three. And Anthony Carter has been the man offensively for the Nuggets here in the third quarter.
Tyronn Lue who?
That's right. Anthony pressuring McGrady way out on the perimeter. Scola spinning, and he's called for the travel.
Ooh, the crowd upset.
Yeah.
Gets Rick Adelman up off the bench. Yeah. It looked like he established his left pivot, and he might have had a little bit of happy feet in there, taking some contact, but he's frustrated. That looked like a pretty move.
It looks like a move that Luis Scola has made many times before. It looked like he knew what he was going to do as soon as he caught the ball. Now Anthony splits the double team, hands it off. Kenyon Martin misses the up and under. Mutombo down to the paint. Now he'll clear as McGrady finds Battier. Still 10 seconds to shoot. It'll be Alston. It's a three.
How many passes before that shot? I said before the game that this team has won 14 games, including 2 without Yao, because the basketball has moved. Multiple touches.
Well, Mutombo started it with the rebound, and the other 4 players all got a touch in the front court. Carmelo Anthony with the answer to the other end, a 2-pointer for Denver. Alston keeping that dribble alive. The scoop. And the follow for Dikembe Mutombo.
Rotation means an easy shot for a post guy.
Iverson using a screen. This is the jumper, and Kenyon Martin. And he gives Mutombo a finger wag after dunking right over the big man. And the crowd, as you can imagine, did not appreciate that.
I like it. He's getting tired of being blocked and having a message sent to him by Mutombo. He's sending one back. That's great competition.
Unfortunately for Martin, Mutombo was looking the other way, so he might not even have seen the finger wag. Here's Scola. This is the open jumper. Rebound Camby. Iverson off to Camby. Nice look inside to Martin. And he'll miss the 6-footer. And now Mutombo, a little body language kind of waving off Martin.
And you also had a reaction from the crowd where everybody was shaking their hand no. Yep. The wagging the finger. Can you lift that one?
And a foul on Carmelo Anthony trying to defend Tracy McGrady. Well, Kenyon Martin getting that explosiveness back. Feeling it at the offensive end. Getting up above the rim. Slamming it down. And a little Mutombo action here.
More to catch up to Wilt. Back to you, Dan.
Well, it's the highest scoring game in the NBA this season, Jonesy. LeBron James has had 51. Allen Iverson has had 51. Carmelo Anthony got to 49 before the Wizards double-teamed him away from the ball in the last 2 possessions of that game a couple of weeks ago to make sure that he wouldn't get 50. Somebody said to AI, 49's pretty good. And Allen said, yeah, but it's not 50.
Yeah, I'm not going to rip his teammate. I love it. Believe me, Carmelo Anthony will have more than one 50-point game.
McGrady, just a simple inbounds play. He misses the 3, a little give and go with Alston. And then a back pass stolen away by McGrady.
That's one of those turnovers. And George Karl talked to Rick Bucher about that at the half. He said, we're not a high turnover team. Just sloppy passing.
No-look pass from McGrady to Scola, who's already got a double-double tonight. 10 points and 11 rebounds. His 5th double-double this season. Mutombo's still in there, playing extended minutes. Battier, his 3rd 3 of the night.
What a difference for this team when Rafer Alston and Shane Battier make shots, because all of a sudden you relieve a little pressure off of Tracy McGrady to carry the load offensively.
Largest lead of the night for the Rockets. Houston is 8 for 16 from 3-point range tonight. Anthony trying to turn the corner on Battier. Dumps it down to Martin with another slam. No finger wag this time as he makes his way back down on D.
Yeah, the finger wag. That would really get under Jeff Van Gundy's skin.
Yeah.
If he were calling that, he'd be going ballistic.
Double-double now for Martin. McGrady with the switch has Camby on him. He'll try to drive on the big man. Dump down for Scola. That is pretty basketball.
Yeah. Ball moving, unselfish, quality opportunities on the offensive end. Just give yourself good shots, because then your percentage will be high and you put yourself in a position to win.
That's the 5th assist of the night for Tracy McGrady, and Allen Iverson has gone cold here tonight after starting hot early.
Smart, unselfish basketball. Rafer Alston off the dribble drive. They're thinking about setting a high screen. He goes opposite. Shane does a nice job staying spaced. And then Scola, this is a willing and talented passer in McGrady. He's got excellent footwork around the rim, Scola. That's why you think back to that move where he's called for travel. Maybe not.
Iverson was muttering to himself after missing that last shot. He is just 4 for 15 tonight, 8 points. So a quiet night for one of the NBA's leading scorers. Mutombo keeps it alive, and there's Luis Scola getting to all the loose balls here tonight. McGrady wasn't expecting that pass from Alston. Gave him a bit of a glare. Got Camby on him. He'll try to take him again. Again the kick. Battier the miss. Mutombo goes flying with J.R. Smith. And I think we get a double foul.
There might be a hold on J.R. Smith. Weak side of your floor. So in this vicinity. Yep, double foul. It should be a double foul.
And the bigger they are, the harder they fall. As J.R. Smith just found out. Mutombo landing on him. A double foul. And maybe J.R. Smith can spark the offense a little bit. Eduardo Najera back into the game for the Nuggets as well. A team that averages 107 is 50 shy of that with just 3.5 to go here in the third. Anthony driving on Battier. Mutombo might have altered it. Back come the Rockets. McGrady loses it. Scola spinning baseline, and he draws the foul. He's playing much more confidently than he did earlier in the season. Looking for the latest gear from your favorite team? Log on to NBAstore.com now for the best selection of team hats, tees, fleece, and more. Plus, get free shipping on orders over $75. Scola now driving. Switching hands, laying it in.
Get a sense why he could be the MVP of the World Championship. And again, go back to the footwork. He had to switch hands. He had to cross over and get between a couple of defenders.
And why have the Rockets won 14 in a row? Scola has moved into the starting lineup and played well. Carl Landry has become a force as Najera knocks down the three. Rafer Alston is playing very well. Luther Head is knocking down shots. Dikembe Mutombo blocking shots. This is a team effort right now.
Yeah, they're playing with a great deal of pride. I like what Adam has said about Scola. He said, if I played him early, would have found out in about 5 minutes how to figure it out. He's figured it out as he makes another shot.
He has scored the last 6 points right now for the Rockets. He's got 16 in the game, and that's the lead for Houston as well. Iverson, another miss. Now 4 for 16. A fresh 24, though, for the Nuggets. Quick release. J.R. Smith, a deep three.
That's microwave-ish, right?
Yes, it is.
Is that not Vinnie Johnson? There are times where that guy comes off the bench, and I'm sure I'm going to upset Detroit fans with that one. He's not that good. I'm just saying, there are times where he can heat it up.
Nobody guarding Scola. They'll miss the elbow jumper. Here comes Iverson. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. A good third quarter for Houston. Smith again falling out of bounds.
He makes my point for me. That is a tough shot.
We can shoot him into or out of games, and they might need him to shoot him back into this one because everybody else has gone cold.
You could use the guard contingent that team had if you wanted to get back in the game. Isaiah, Joe Dumars, Vinnie Johnson.
Battier underneath, and 2 more for Scola.
How smart. He's just so smart. He's not going to overwhelm you with athletic ability. He's simply going to get great position, use his body, shield defenders, use both hands. Scola can play.
18 points, 12 rebounds. Anthony, and a block. Camby driving. Well, that's a tough shot if you're Marcus Camby. He'll draw the foul. Houston protecting the rim tonight, aren't they? Battier getting in on the action as Mutombo was earlier with the Rockets with a nice lead over the Nuggets here tonight.
ESPN's special edition of the NBA, brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade, and Verizon Wireless.
The NBA cares about the community, continuing the league's commitment to rebuilding New Orleans. Rockets players Aaron Brooks and Carl Landry recently joined students at McDonough 42 Elementary Charter School to make a donation of books to the school's library and celebrate reading. McDonough 42 was one of the sites for the NBA Cares All-Star Day of Service during All-Star 2008, the NBA where caring happens. Well, so many of the NBA players getting involved in the rebuilding of New Orleans as visiting teams come in. Let's check out our GMC game track tonight. Tracy McGrady having a nice night, but getting a lot of help from his supporting cast. Houston shooting the three very well. And if you said to Rick Adelman at this point of the game that Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony would have combined for 26 points, he'd say, thank you very much.
Well, what did we talk about? They wanted to make them both jump shooters. And for the most part, with a few exceptions, they have done exactly that.
Anthony's got 18 points, 7 of 16 shooting. Iverson started quickly, but now he has been stuck on 8 points for a while, just 4 of 16 from the floor. He made 2 of his first 5. He's only made 2 of his last 11. And in this half, Doris has become more of a jump shooter.
Yeah.
He has not really gotten the ball to the rim at all.
Well, he's taken a few threes in this half. He's 0 for 6 in the game in that category. And now Denver pushes their pressure up a little bit initially.
10-point deficit for the Nuggets. J.R. Smith has been the best offensive player recently for Denver. He's got 3 threes tonight. Luis Scola having a big game for Houston, 18 points and 12 rebounds. Carl Landry has replaced Dikembe Mutombo out of the timeout. There he is underneath, and a block from behind by Camby. A foul, from behind by Marcus Camby.
Well, he's trying to lead the league in blocks for the 3rd straight year. He doesn't usually get up off his feet. I thought that was a pretty good block. But again, we get it from multiple angles. And a lot of times an official has a different angle than we do.
Might have been a little body there from Marcus Camby. Carl Landry to the line. For more on him, let's go to Rick Bucher.
Landry is not the name you think of when you think of the Rockets. Not the first, not the second, not the fifth. And yet he was all the talk by the Nuggets this morning in shoot-around. Kenyon Martin in particular said that dude is no joke. They were talking about the energy and the effort level that he gives and the fact that he's beaten out essentially Chuck Hayes for that role on this team. You don't think of him as one of the stars, but he has caught notice from teams around the league, Dan.
Well, Rick Adelman says that for a guy his size, he brings unbelievable energy. He's about 6'9", 245, and eventually Rick Adelman started putting him out there. Tracy McGrady got hurt, and they thought they needed more offense in the lineup. So Chuck Hayes came out of the starting lineup, and Luis Scola went in, and then Landry started playing behind Scola. And every time Rick Adelman put him in there, he delivered. Linus Kleza delivers with a 3, and Denver getting back into this game.
Well, the first time Carl Landry served notice that he could play, well, before that, out of Purdue, 24 points against Greg Oden in the Big Ten tournament. You're scoring against that kind of size and that kind of defensive ability, you can play.
Got a younger brother, Mark, is a pretty solid player in Wisconsin, having another good year. Scola comes to get the ball, otherwise that ball would have been stolen. Now Battier with 1 on the shot clock. This is the 30-footer, and Denver will take over.
So I thought Tracy a little bit too unselfish. And I know he's a terrific passer, over 5.5 a game, but shoot it.
Now Rick Adelman's a little bit frustrated. George Karl's got to feel better. It was out to about 16 points a few minutes ago. Now Denver's down 9 with the ball to close the quarter.
I think they're a scary team because they could put points on the board in a hurry.
And can't deny Iverson forever. Just 8 points tonight. 2 seconds. And Iverson continues to struggle. Rick Adelman will visit with Rick Bucher when we come back to start the 4th quarter as the Rockets look to run their winning streak to 15. Tonight's telecast is also available in high definition on ESPN HD, presented by Olivia. Welcome back to Houston as we go to the 4th quarter with the Houston Rockets trying to make it 15 straight wins. They're up 9 on Denver. During the break, Rick Bucher with Rick Adelman.
Coach Adelman, it seemed with everything, you've got to be pretty happy with the way things have gone. But coaches are never happy. So what are the aspects that you didn't like so far?
Well, I just think we left 3-point shooters, and we didn't have to. Smith made a really tough one. We gave him another one. We doubled the ball out of half court and let Nahara get one. We just have to stay solid mentally, defensively. They're making shots right now, but we still have to make jump shots under pressure.
All right, and who does that rest with primarily? Who does that rest with primarily to get that done?
Guarding their shooters. You know, you got to help, but you also got to stay with their shooters.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, Tracy McGrady sharing the basketball a lot tonight. He's got 5 assists. Luis Scola, Rafer Alston, a lot of guys helping out. If the Rockets win here tonight, Doris, it will match the longest winning streak in franchise history. Twice they did it. Once in 92-93, once in 93-94. That one to begin the season. That's in the heyday of Akeem Olajuwon as they won 15 in a row on 2 previous occasions. Carl Landry looks like he might have gotten poked in the eye right now as he makes his way back up the floor.
If they're going to do it, they've got to do a better job, as Coach Adelman just said. They gave up 5 for 10 from 3 to Denver in the third period.
Battier knew he missed the 3. Tried to follow it in, and Anthony was thinking about a long pass. Kleza got out behind everybody, but they couldn't connect. Screen on both sides of Battier. Kleza wide open in the corner, and the rebound to Bobby Jackson. Kleza's a guy who's had a 41-point game this year. In college at Missouri, more of a bruiser, but he's really extended his range and become a viable three-point shooter here in the NBA. Nice steal there by J.R. Smith, giving the Nuggets good minutes off the bench in the second half.
And Scola makes a solid defensive play. Again, not going to wow you, but just a smart basketball player.
Having one of the best nights of his first NBA season. First foul on Kleza.
You know who he'll wow? He wows coaches. Because you're watching film at home and you're a coach, you're just going, you love that kind of guy.
Anthony working hard on McGrady. Here comes the help. And there's a foul on Carmelo Anthony. The more Tracy McGrady puts it on the floor, the more good things happen for the Houston Rockets. Number 3 on Carmelo.
At 6'9", to have those kinds of skills, Dan, and be able to see over the top of the defense.
By Scola, he slips it. Jackson looks for him, settles for Battier, who shakes Smith and knocks it down.
Another smart player right there. Understanding the shot clock is putting him under a little bit of duress. One power dribble into his shot.
Nahara passed up the 3 for Smith, who's had the hot hand. Smith had a tougher shot and he missed it. And Nahara does what he does best. He hustled in there for the loose ball.
Shane Battier, Hubie Brown talked about the guy, one of the most professional people he's ever been around. His approach to practice and the game, does what needs to be done, and he does so there.
Earning his keep tonight, defending Carmelo Anthony, who had a big start, has slowed down. Allen Iverson has not put up big offensive numbers tonight. Now he gets to the glass and banks it in. First make in a long time for Iverson. She goes into double figures with 10. Houston getting good minutes here. Again, in the absence of Yao Ming, the third game that he has missed. Houston has won the previous 2 out for the year. Will have surgery on his foot tomorrow. Landry and Scola, the 2 guys who were down there on that play, have both played very well. And Yao Ming's injury not only resonating here locally and nationally, but of course back in China, it is as big a story as there can be. The biggest thing for Yao at this point, he wants to get healthy and be ready for the start of the next season, but he dearly wants to play in the Olympics in Beijing in the summer. And he said to Rick Bucher and myself earlier today, said, hey, don't forget my name tonight when you're doing the game. Don't forget about me.
I simply cannot believe he took criticism. He made a statement that if he had to miss the Olympics, that it would be amongst the biggest losses of his career. He took some criticism for that.
Nahara with another. This one is a long 2, they say. A long jumper for Nahara. He wanted 3, but Luis Grillo says his foot was on the line.
That to me is absurd, Dan, that he would take criticism from anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Americans are patriotic. Yao is taking pride in representing his country. He shouldn't take any hits for that. He's as passionate about the Rockets as he is about the Chinese national team.
Carl Landry filling in, getting big minutes, more and more each game.
He was close to a dunk off the last miss, and he's just getting to the rim off shots by his teammates.
Iverson the kick to Smith. Short on the 3. And a timeout taken by Rick Adelman. And Carl Landry, big minutes, big energy. He and Luis Scola combining in the absence of the injured Yao Ming, leading Houston potentially to win number 15. Rick Bucher on Yao's injury and how it resonates back in China when we come back.
If I cannot play for Olympics for my country this time, that was the biggest loss during my career until right now. This is my biggest loss.
Indeed, as colossal a story as it is over here, it is even bigger in China. The headlines over there say Yao Ming, left foot, bone broken, and expressed the disappointment that he would have not playing in the Olympics. It says, another one says that if he's absent from the Olympics, this would be our biggest loss, and that they will certainly test the Chinese team. Obviously, it's not New York Post type headlines, but that said, it is monstrous because China's hopes in making their name known, particularly in basketball, hosting the Olympics, is huge, and Yao Ming is an obvious part of that. I had a chance to sit down and talk with him this afternoon, and while he's trying to put a happy face on it, his feeling is that with Wang Zhuzhu, another one of their key players, suffering from a knee injury, that this could really jeopardize their ability to do what everybody expects them to do. And one of the things that people here don't understand is that players over there feel beholden to the national team and to their country, because they feel essentially that China is what raised them to be players, that they funded them, that they housed them, that they coached them. So as much as we talk about patriotism, it's at a whole different level over there, Dan.
There's no question, Rick. A great report, and our thanks to David Tung, one of our video guys on the crew here, for translating the headlines in the Chinese newspaper so we could figure out exactly what was being written over in China. Meanwhile, Shane Battier has knocked in another three, as you saw moments ago, his 5th three of the night. Shane Battier is outscoring Carmelo Anthony as Jackson misses. Rafer Alston is outscoring Allen Iverson. That's why, two of the big reasons why Houston is winning this game. Nice drive by Luther Head.
There are multiple shot opportunities. The defense gets spread out. Nobody's in rebounding position to open up the drive. Pretty stuff. And, you know, I don't think the expectation was that the Chinese national team would necessarily medal at the Olympics, but he is such a huge figure over there that he is the face of that Olympic Games.
Anthony is fouled inside. Well, millions in America follow Yao Ming on a daily basis. Hundreds of millions in China follow Yao Ming on a daily basis. And again, he will undergo surgery tomorrow morning. And long term, you hope for his sake and the sake of the Rockets that he can stay healthy. This is 3 years in a row he's had an injury. He's a big guy. He's had problems with his feet and his legs. And, you know, 320 pounds is a lot of weight to be running up and down the floor. And you hope long term that he's going to be able to be a productive player for many more years. Let's go back to Rick.
Yeah, he hopes to be in the pool running 2 weeks after the surgery to get back into the rehab process. But the interesting point is that they discovered this almost accidentally. He had bone spurs, and that was causing the pain. And he has a slight fracture in there. And he said, in a way, he's lucky, because if they hadn't found it, the feeling is if he'd continued playing, that in about a month he would have had a complete break and he could have missed an entire year.
So hoping to be back for Beijing and hoping to be completely healthy, obviously, for the Rockets next year. He'll be probably the world's biggest cheerleader between now and then as the Rockets try to continue this great run that they've been on the last month or so. A perfect February. They won all 13 games in February and have won 14 in a row overall. Carter, and did he travel? No, it's a foul on Landry. Number 3 on Carl Landry. On the NBA calendar tomorrow on NBA TV, it'll be Dallas taking on Utah at 9 Eastern. TNT's got a doubleheader Thursday. Cleveland and Chicago playing again. The Cavs just beat the Bulls today. And then the Rockets are in Dallas. And then on ABC next Sunday, the Spurs and the Suns. Coverage begins at 3 o'clock Eastern on ABC.
Well, the bad news for teams in the West is Tony Parker is starting to look like the aggressive, confident, assertive Tony Parker that was the MVP of the finals. And Manu Ginobili, man, the guy just competes so hard. He makes so many big shots. But you have to like how selfless that organization. They are built on quality players, but quality people as well.
And there's going to be so much jockeying for playoff position, not just the likes of Denver, Golden State, down near the bottom for the last spot, but the teams up near the top trying to get home court advantage. Trying to get an easier first-round matchup if there is such a thing in the West.
I don't think you want to be 5th or 6th or 7th in the West.
McGrady. And the rebound to Anthony. Denver down 13. Less than 6 minutes to go here in the 4th. Smith looking for help. Iverson trying to shake Battier. Now with a switch, Luther Head is on Iverson, who throws it up there for Anthony. And it's an offensive foul. Carmelo Anthony called for the foul, using that elbow. Wave off the basket, turn it back over. Timeout on the floor. Houston by 13.
ESPN's special edition of the NBA, brought to you by Dodge. Live life to the fullest. Dodge, grab life.
37, Dan Shulman.
Just another day for LeBron James as the Cavs and Bulls, the intra-squad game after the trade. Cleveland are winning that. Well, both coaches really getting on their teams in recent huddles. Let's listen in.
You want to attack and find the open man. Spacing game is good, but we still like the rim and love the rim a lot more than we like the bad three.
It's all about your concentration at the defensive end. No easy baskets, no fouls, and hand pressure.
And both coaches concentrating on the end of the floor where really the difference tonight has been. Houston's defense on Denver's potent offense. The Rockets have done a really nice job tonight. Nice feed. Landry from McGrady. 6 assists for Tracy McGrady.
How can he be that open at this point in the game when you need to make stops?
Carmelo Anthony. Long on the three. Rebound Rafer Alston, who's come back into the point. It's Alston, Luther Head, Tracy McGrady, Shane Battier, and Carl Landry. A very small lineup in there for Houston. McGrady driving on Carmelo. Follows it, tips it in. Tracy McGrady with 20.
Get the sense this team did not like being discounted immediately when Yao went out. They are playing hard and they're playing well.
And in reading a lot of articles and columns in recent days, getting ready for this game, it was about a 50-50 split between those who felt they're done and those who said, no, they're not so done. They got a lot of things going for them, and they're showing that here tonight.
Well, watch Kenyon Martin. How does they get wide open? Well, Kenyon looks like he wants to help on Tracy McGrady, and this is what you get with Tracy. He's going to become a focal point defensively. And what happens when the other guys get better? Because you're so concerned about him offensively.
Battier takes it away and is pushed out of bounds by Anthony, who's called for another foul. Is that 5 on Carmelo? It is. And all 5 have one thing in common. He hasn't agreed with any of the calls.
I don't know that any player ever does.
Remember the first 2 games Houston played without Yao. Both were at home. Wins over Washington and Memphis. It's a better opponent in Denver and another convincing win. And they're not just beating people. I mean, they're beating teams game in and game out by 15 or 20 points.
Yeah, Washington and Memphis. In fact, I think Coach Adam is Tracy just continues to do what Tracy does. He didn't know, you talked about Dikembe Mutombo. He says 17, 23 minutes. He goes, I don't know how we're going to play. I mean, we got such big leads. It sort of skewed things for us.
Carmelo backing down Battier. The kick to Iverson. He makes his first 3 of the night after missing his first 6 from out there. Houston's next game will be Wednesday, another home game against Indiana. A steal by Smith. Kenyon Martin driving on McGrady, can't finish it.
That's been the only thing Tracy McGrady has not done well. He's turned it over as many times as he's made a nice pass for an assist. 6 and 6.
Alston. He is knocking down every open look he's getting tonight.
Well, you're going to make a switch. Most guys are going to go over the top of the screens with Tracy, or if they switch it, he's going to have an opportunity to get uncontested shots.
Iverson fouled by Alston. ESPN is your NBA destination. Wednesday night action. What a game this should be as the Suns take on Denver at 9 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN HD. NBA Wednesday presented by Haynes on ESPN at 9 Eastern. You will also see the Nuggets on Friday night on ESPN as they host the San Antonio Spurs. A rugged stretch in the schedule for Denver.
2 against San Antonio, Utah. Next against the Phoenix Suns, who are desperately trying to right the ship. They were one of the prettiest teams in basketball to watch a year ago. They have stopped being aesthetically pleasing.
Houston reaching the 100-point mark for the 5th time in the last 6 games. They've got a 16-point lead on the Nuggets, looking for their 15th consecutive win as Camby comes up with a block shot. Iverson into fifth gear, misses the layup. Battier the rebound.
Well, you just don't see that. I mean, this is just a night where it has not come at all for Allen Iverson. I mean, that's usually a deuce or free throws for Allen.
And again, when Iverson and Anthony have about the same number of points as Alston and Battier, the guys who are playing defense on them, Rick Adelman has to be thrilled. J.R. Smith, the foul, and a timeout on the floor. Under 3 minutes to go, and the Rockets getting closer to their 15th win in a row. A real team effort for the Houston Rockets so far tonight, not depending too heavily on Tracy McGrady scoring. Shane Battier's had a nice night. Luis Scola, Rafer Alston, and they have been sharing the ball beautifully.
Well, this is what has happened with and without Yao. The ball has moved. There have been multiple touches for a lot of different guys. You can see a lot more of Tracy McGrady posting up. You said that in the break. It's a great point. He's an exceptional passer. Again, his only weakness has been turnovers tonight, but it's different guys doing different things for a team that's shown, I think, a ton of pride.
And during the streak, averaging better than 25 assists per game. They have won 14 in a row. Looking for number 15 here tonight. It's already the longest winning streak in the league this season.
Well, this guy is one of 5 different guys on the history of the NBA, Rick Adelman, to win 60 games with 2 teams.
Vince Young giving Tracy McGrady a little strategy on the inbounds play here.
Well, he's played quarterback.
Yeah. A season-high points for Shane Battier. A season-high in rebounds for Luis Scola. 2.5 to go. Here come the Nuggets.
So be efficient with your offensive possessions.
Iverson all the way around and to back out. Kicks it out to Smith. The clock at 6. Anthony can't handle it. Houston ball.
Only 2 times, 14 times in 16 years as a head coach, Rick Adelman's been to the playoffs. So, pretty good stat.
Yep. Been to the finals twice. And this team, even without Yao Ming, playing very well. Luther had to miss. And it'll be a loose ball foul on Shane Battier. We shouldn't forget the contribution made basically in the first quarter and the third quarter by Dikembe Mutombo. The numbers aren't huge. Credited with 3 blocks. We think he might have had 1 or 2 more than that. Had 5 rebounds as well. But just a presence down there in the middle.
Well, what did Rick Bucher asked a great question going to half of Tracy McGrady. What impact has his ability to perform at this level have on your team? And Tracy said, inspiring. He used the word twice in that interview, inspiring.
24 minutes tonight for Mutombo in place of the injured Yao with more. Here's Rick Bucher.
The effort that Dikembe has given is appreciated by many more than just the Rockets themselves. He and Yao were walking down one of the corridors this morning after shoot-around, and one of the security guards saw Dikembe and said, "Dikembe, we are so proud of you." And Dikembe said, "Thank you." She said, "Yeah, I'm 46. We are so proud of you." He didn't like that part so much.
Not bad for a 41-year-old getting 24 minutes tonight and really playing very well. And then when he comes out, give a lot of credit to Carl Landry and Luis Scola. Again, each of them seems to be getting better by the game.
And the interesting thing is, and how Coach Adelman pieces this together is going to be fascinating, because you're going to play 2 different ways. You're going to play small ball when he's out of the lineup. You lose a little bit of defense. You get a better score in Landry. But you're adjusting on the fly. Most teams, again, they're tweaking, they're fine-tuning. Not the case. If you're a coach sitting at home in March, you're sort of formulating, okay, if I match up against this team, what am I going to do against this pick and roll? Which way? You can't do it this year.
And now here comes some subs. Already Stephen Hunter and Yakuba Diawara are in for Denver. Torian Green, the rookie out of Florida, will check in. Aaron Brooks, Steve Novak, and Bobby Jones recently signed to a 10-day contract, come in a big ovation for the likes of Battier, Landry, and Alston as they check out of the game. 15 in a row, matching the franchise record. They'll try to break that Wednesday night here against Indiana. And they have moved up to 6. Dallas lost earlier today in overtime to the Lakers. So the Rockets entered this game percentage points ahead. Now we'll move a half game ahead of the Mavericks for 6th in the West.
Wait a day. Are there NBA games tomorrow? Just wait a day. The standings could change.
Join host John Saunders along with analyst Tim Legler and Greg Anthony as they deliver NBA action across the nation on NBA Coast to Coast on ESPN2 Tuesday night at 9 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. So a few minutes of time here for the likes of Brooks, Novak, and Jones off the Houston bench.
Getting a little burn, as they say.
Jones off the glass, no good. Look at Landry. I mean, he is active on the offensive glass. Kleza pulls up for three. Now Landry fighting with Jones, his own teammate, for the rebound.
Boy, what an athlete Carl Landry is. Well, if you're a rookie, just hang tough. You just work hard at practice. He did not have a great summer, but has responded when necessary.
Did not play in 33 of their first 36 games. That's what Novak out of Marquette does best, but he misses the three. Nahara steps behind the line. He misses a three. And the Houston Rockets with an impressive win. On the verge of an impressive win as Diawara scores and is fouled. And Houston giving them a lot of credit for holding Anthony in check. Carmelo Anthony with 19 points tonight, 7 of 17. Allen Iverson 17 points tonight, 7 of 22. A job well done by the Houston defense tonight. Shot clock has been turned off, and those who remain now beginning to stand and applaud the 15th consecutive win by the Houston Rockets, matching an all-time franchise record.
Solid job to follow a game plan. You made jump shooters out of both guys. Allen Iverson only 2 for 3 from the free throw line.
Amazing. Longest streak in franchise history. They've just tied it. The longest streak in the NBA this season. 15 in a row and 3 in a row since Yao Ming was injured. Rick Buchers with Shane Battier.
I am. Shane Battier, 20 points, one of 5 Rockets in double figures. What's harder, scoring 20 or defending Carmelo Anthony?
Defending Carmelo Anthony every time. He's a heck of a player, and just got to make him work. He hit some tough ones, but it was a great team effort tonight. We're really happy.
What does it mean to tie the franchise record for 15 wins?
Well, it means something, because this is a great franchise, a lot of history. And to win 15 games in a row in the NBA is tough for anybody to do. So something we're proud of, but we're not satisfied by.
All right, congratulations. Go for number 16. Back to you guys.
All right, Rick, thank you. The Rockets telling everybody in the NBA just because Yao is out doesn't mean the Rockets are down and out. 3 in a row since Yao's injury, 15 in a row overall. Now number 6 in the West. The final score here at Houston, the Rockets 103 and the Nuggets 89. For Doris Burke, Rick Bucher, and our entire crew, I'm Dan Shulman saying thanks for watching and so long from the Toyota Center here in Houston. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. The Rockets win yet again. SportsCenter is next.